Thumbs up and share this video if it resonates with you. Man, we've all been touched by this thing. This monster we call cancer. It's a word that just hangs in the air, heavy and dark. We hear it, and we immediately think of a fight, a battle against our own bodies. We picture cells going haywire, multiplying like crazy. The story we're told. DNA scrambled, rogue cells building tumors. It's a terrifying thought. Your own body betraying you. Civil war under your skin. Doctors are the generals. But what if that story is just one way of looking at it? You know that old saying, right? If it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, quacks like a duck. I call it the duck theory. It's simple, it's direct. Forces you to look at what's in front of you. We get lost in complex explanations, even with billion-dollar machines. Sometimes that search makes us walk past a simple answer. Apply duck theory. Step back and look at cancer's behavior. It grows. It spreads. It consumes resources from its host. That's you. It weakens the host. It seems to have a life of its own, a drive to survive and multiply. It doesn't act like a random cellular mistake. It acts like something that's alive. It acts like an organism, a creature, less like a broken part, more like an invader. That's the rabbit hole I went down. It's a crazy thought, I know. It goes against decades of medical teaching. But the more you look, the more ducks you see. What if cancer isn't a noun? What if it's a verb? What if it's not a thing you have, but something happening to you? Something being done by an intruder? An intruder that's been around as long as humans. An ancient enemy. It's a wild idea. Stick with me. We're just exploring here, just asking questions. So here's the big question, the one that kicks this whole thing off. What if cancer isn't a disease of your cells turning against you? What if it's something else entirely? What if it's a parasite? I know. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. It sounds insane. But think about it. Parasites are masters of disguise. They've evolved over millions of years to live inside other creatures, to hide from their immune systems, to use their hosts to survive and reproduce. They are the ultimate con artists of the natural world, and we are their favorite playground. We don't like to think about parasites, especially here in the civilized world. It's a dirty word. We think of third world countries, unclean water, something far away. But are we really that clean? We eat sushi, we eat rare steaks, we walk barefoot, we swim in lakes, we let our dogs lick our faces. We are exposed to things all the time. The idea that we're living in some sterile bubble is just not realistic. The medical world has its narrative locked down. Cancer is a genetic disease, a mutation, full stop. They've built a multi-trillion-dollar industry around that one idea. Chemotherapy, radiation surgery, cutting, burning, poisoning. But the results? Let's be honest. They're mixed at best. People still suffer. People still die. For all our advanced technology, we're still fighting this thing with brutal, primitive tools, like fixing a computer with a sledgehammer. Maybe the tools aren't working perfectly because we've misidentified the problem. This isn't to say doctors are evil or hiding something. These are good people who want to help, but massive institutions can get tunnel vision. They look for broken genes, not worms or flukes. If you're not looking for something, you rarely find it. It's like looking for your keys only where the light is shining. Okay, let's get specific. This is just my theory, my personal deep dive into the what-ifs. This is not medical advice, it's a thought experiment. What if the primary culprit is a specific parasite? A tiny organism called a blood fluke, schistosoma. These things are real, nasty, and infect hundreds of millions worldwide. I have to give credit where it's due. Dr. Hulda Clark was one of the first to suggest a link between parasites, environmental toxicity, and cancer. Her work sparked my curiosity and inspired this theory. Here's something wild. Blood flukes actually absorb glucose right out of your bloodstream. They thrive on it, using your blood sugar as fuel to survive and multiply. And get this, in a PET scan, doctors inject glucose into your body before the scan. The scan lights up where the glucose is absorbed, showing the most active spots, what we call cancer. But maybe, just maybe, it's really the fluke soaking up all that sugar. Cancer cells are also known to absorb glucose. That actually makes sense if they're harboring fluke eggs. Both need that sugar to survive and multiply. Tiny worms can live in your bloodstream for decades, laying thousands of eggs a day, one of humanity's oldest, most successful parasites. Major public health bodies already note that certain parasites are carcinogenic, including blood flukes. Long-term infection can be linked with bladder cancer, liver cancer, and others. They see the parasite and the cancer and conclude the parasite causes the cancer. But what if they're not two separate things? What if the tumor isn't your cells gone wrong, but a parasite colony plus waste, eggs, and inflammation? Think about a tumor: rapid cell growth, new blood supply, strange chemicals, waste dumping, making you sick and tired. And even more shocking, dark inclusion inside the cell, which supports this theory of egg deposits. Now think about a parasite colony, a mass of living organisms that feed on blood and excrete waste. Same behavior, same pattern. It's the duck quacking. The theory: the fluke enters, finds a spot, liver, bladder, colon, multiplies. The immune system builds a wall of tissue to contain the infection. That's what shows on scans and biopsies. What are we really seeing? Your cells or juvenile forms and eggs mixed with damaged tissue? Let's look at cancer treatments, both mainstream and alternative. What if the treatments that sometimes work are effective because they're accidentally anti-parasitic, aiming at the tumor but poisoning the parasite? This could explain why some treatments work for some, not others, and why sometimes the cancer returns with a vengeance. It depends on whether the parasite and all its eggs were killed. Think about famous alternative protocols. Many involve black walnut hull, wormwood, cloves, cannabis oil, and ocoacetic acid. These are well-known anti-parasitic herbs used for centuries, and new ways to systemically treat this issue. Mainstream science calls successes placebo or anecdote. But what if it's not? Certain chemotherapy drugs are cytotoxic poisons that kill rapidly dividing cells. That's the official explanation. But parasites and their eggs also divide rapidly. Maybe chemo is a brute force poison that kills parasites along with healthy cells, like carpet bombing a city to hit one hideout. It might work, but the collateral damage is immense. And radiation: we blast a tumor to break DNA. What if it also sterilizes or kills parasites and eggs concentrated there? You hear stories. People told they had cancer take things like fenbendazole, a dog dewormer, and go into remission. Official line: misdiagnosis. But what if it wasn't? What if they had a parasite and the dewormer killed it? It's the duck quacking again. Some chemo agents descend from or resemble chemical warfare poisons. We use powerful poisons to kill pests in fields and parasites in animals. A chemical strong enough to kill bone marrow could kill a fluke in vessels. Chemo's hit-or-miss nature might depend on which parasite you have and which cocktail you get. Some drugs may be more effective against certain flukes. Mainstream says cancer cells mutate and adapt. Parasite theory: weaker parasites die, stronger, resistant ones survive and repopulate. Common in parasitology. Chemo might wipe out adults, tumors shrink, remission, everyone celebrates. But if eggs survive, they can lie dormant, protected from chemicals. When treatment stops, they hatch, new parasites grow. Months or years later, the cancer returns, often more aggressive. Not a new cancer, the same infection, regrown. Here's something strange. In the US and much of the West, we act like parasites don't happen. You get a skeptical look, maybe a basic stool test, often unreliable, and a pat on the back. Elsewhere, deworming is routine. Doctors are trained to look. The public knows the risks. They understand parasites can cause a huge range of chronic issues, from fatigue and digestive problems to much more serious conditions. Why the blind spot? Part arrogance, sanitation, clean water, processed food. We think we've conquered nature, but we haven't. Another factor is money. The cancer industry is massive. Treatments are expensive. Anti-parasitic drugs can be cheap. If cheap meds helped even a portion, the economics would shift. I'm not saying a dark room conspiracy, more like institutional inertia. Now, I have to be extremely clear. I am not a doctor. I am not a scientist. I am a real estate broker, and as crazy as it sounds, the last prophet. See my channel for all the prophecy and conspiracy I have uncovered. These include prophesizing the coming of Apophis in 2029, the Indonesian tsunami published 2003 wave hit in 2004. We gave the world the water motor, or electrolysis-driven hydrogen generator, released on YouTube over a year before Toyota built the motor. But I am not a doctor. This essay is a thought experiment. It is absolutely not medical advice. Do not stop your cancer treatment. Do not start chugging dog dewormer. That would be insane and dangerous. The purpose here is to get you to think, to consider a possibility you probably haven't been presented with before. Question the narrative, the randomness, the behavior, the limited success of treatments. It leaves room for questions. Be your own health advocate. Do your own research. Read everything. Look at both sides, mainstream views and alternative theories. Don't just accept what any single authority tells you, doctor or some guy on a podcast. Use your own brain. Think critically. Ask why. If you get a diagnosis, ask until you understand. Ask about alternatives. Ask about evidence. Be an active participant in your own health. My role is just to be the spark, to throw a crazy idea out there and see if it catches fire in your mind. The medical system is powerful, not perfect. No one has all the answers. We're all trying to figure this out. If there's even a 1% chance this parasite theory applies to some cancers, we have a moral obligation to investigate. Fund unbiased studies. Look for parasite DNA inside tumors. With modern sequencing, we can identify every organism in a sample. Why isn't this standard? Are we afraid of what we might find? It's time to face that fear. Educate doctors about parasites, even in developed countries. Improve testing beyond outdated stool samples. Screen where links are known. This is a fight for information and honesty. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, maybe stop calling it a mystical lion. Start looking for a duck. The stakes are too high to keep our heads in the sand. It's time to look. If this video resonated with you, share it and thumbs up.